What we call shadow work is probably the most difficult but most important part of your journey to enlightenment. In this video, we will explore the importance of knowing and facing our shadow. This is not an easy task, but make sure you stay till the end to prove yourself you are ready. I would also love to read your comments and personal experiences. When we come face to face with ourselves, it's as if we are having an encounter with our own shadow. If we're not aware of our shadow, we limit ourselves like puppets, controlled by our fears, traumas, and prejudices. All of that resides in the dark and unconscious part of our mind, influencing every thought and action we take. When we hear about the shadow, our minds often go straight to those dark and mysterious corners we'd rather not explore. But we need to understand that the shadow isn't just a sinister or evil place. It's an important part of who we are. This dark and unconscious part of the psyche, which Carl Jung called the shadow, holds those parts of ourselves we've hidden, traits or tendencies we've labeled as bad or unwanted. It's a subterranean stream of who we are, completely unknown to us, an element of our own nature made up of repressed desires, ideas, instincts, weaknesses, and flaws. But these aspects aren't inherently negative. They're simply parts of our personality we haven't fully acknowledged, like a forgotten version of ourselves, parts we've left out of our conscious awareness. In this fascinating exploration, we'll delve into the dark corners of your mind to shed light on them, exploring them from different perspectives and discovering how we can address them together. Although the shadow is an innate part of being human, most of us are intentionally blind to its existence. It's like refusing to accept that you also have that dark side within you, preferring to look outward and point out others' mistakes instead of facing your own weaknesses. You cling to that sense of moral superiority to feel better about yourself, but deep down, you know you're not as perfect as you'd like to believe. So, you continue on, blind to your own shadows, ignoring your destructive actions, justifying them to others. But in the end, it's just an illusion that hinders your growth and improvement as a person. It turns out we all have a dark side that's there, but we often ignore it because over the course of our life, we've learned to hide certain parts of ourselves. Some of these parts come from your most basic instincts, like sexual desire or aggressiveness, which you try to keep under control to fit into society. Other parts come from your upbringing. Remember those times you did something your parents or teachers didn't like, and you were corrected for it. For example, maybe as a child, you got very angry and had a tantrum. From then on, you tried not to show your anger so easily because you learned it could cause problems. And so, unwittingly, you started to hide that angry part of yourself. We all have these hidden parts, these shadows. The difference lies in how aware you are of them. Some simply ignore them, while others seek to understand them better. When your shadow remains in the dark, it can wreak havoc on your life. Those parts you try to hide don't disappear. They're still there, affecting you without you realizing it. It's as if that dark part could overpower your conscious thought and take you over completely, affecting how you think, feel, and act. And when this happens, you may find yourself in difficult moments without understanding why. But in reality, those difficult moments may be a consequence of that hidden part controlling you, not just bad luck or fate. The unconscious control that our shadow can exert over us also explains the self-destructive behaviors many people struggle with and can't control, despite consciously knowing it would be better not to engage in such actions. It's as if you have a dark side within you that takes control without you realizing it. And that explains why sometimes we do things we know aren't good for us. Think of addicts, for example. Many are driven by their shadow, which explains the internal struggle they experience. At one moment, they tell themselves they'll quit their addiction and live a clean life, and the next moment, their shadow overrides their conscious ego, and they eagerly seek the next drink or sexual release. As Stevenson notes in his book The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, man is not truly one, but truly two, with a conscious personality and a shadow, each often vying for supremacy within his mind. The shadow thus becomes a repository of unconscious beliefs that shape your behavior in ways you often don't understand. As you go through life, you find yourself wondering why you react in certain ways or why you keep repeating the same mistakes. So, to avoid falling into the possession of the shadows, you need to become aware of your dark qualities and make them part of yourself. It's not about rejecting these parts of you, but accepting them as part of who you are. It's not about being perfect, but being whole. And since wholeness includes both light and darkness, you must integrate your shadow into your conscious personality to truly grow as a person. The exploration of our shadows is essential because, as mentioned, repressing or denying the shadow can have devastating consequences in our lives, influencing our thoughts, emotions, decisions, and actions. Therefore, the work process involves bringing to light what is deepest within you, allowing you to establish a conscious relationship with your shadow and transform its influence into a powerful opportunity for personal growth. Let's delve deeper into practical ways to identify the presence of your shadow self. One essential way to recognize your shadow is to identify the areas in which you suppress yourself in life. Notice which aspects are unbalanced or where you feel you're not giving your full potential. All the clues are there: feelings of unhappiness despite trying various avenues to resolve it, feeling the need for a change, but never wanting to accept the challenge, telling yourself that certain successes won't last or that you don't matter as much as others. Wherever it shows up in your life, pay attention. Step back, as these signs indicate ways in which our ego has held us back, preventing us from reaching our true potential. Have you noticed how certain patterns repeat in your life? Do you find yourself facing the same challenges over and over or attracting the same kind of people? It's not mere coincidence. These are signs of your shadow trying to communicate with you. These patterns are its way of manifesting, clamoring to be recognized and integrated into your awareness. Your shadow is not your enemy, but an ally waiting to be discovered. Each repetition of these patterns is an opportunity to explore those hidden parts of yourself that will keep emerging until you bravely decide to face them and free yourself. We project onto others everything we bury within ourselves. That is, we see our shadow in others. For example, if you get irritated when someone is rude, it's very likely you haven't acknowledged your own rudeness. However, if rudeness weren't in your shadow, another person's rudeness wouldn't bother you as much. This process doesn't happen consciously. Generally, we're not aware of our projections. The ego uses this mechanism to defend itself, to defend its perceived self-identity. The reason behind this solution lies in the fact that the ego is the root of the shadow. Its elimination could make the shadow obsolete. It's important to note that confronting the shadow is extremely difficult, and even more challenging is integrating it. However, it's crucial to remember the importance of both processes in reaching our full potential and how much personal growth they can offer. Exploring our own shadow is not just an optional spiritual journey, it's an imperative necessity. It represents the highest level of self-esteem, self-love, and personal development we can aspire to. I hope this brief reflection has provided some clarity. If you resonate with what I've shared, I encourage you to share it with your loved ones. If you wish to learn more about the spiritual journey, consider subscribing to the channel and join our community of spiritual seekers. A wonderful day and a great journey to you.